This video is about something called phonological awareness. This is the ability to hear and evaluate individual sounds within a word. Okay? So unlike the alphabetic principle where we were talking about sounds matching printed letters, phonological awareness has nothing to do with print. It's all auditory, okay? So we're trying to link auditory sounds to your brain, all right? And helping the child's brain be able to identify sounds within words, break words apart, build words, manipulate words, things like that. It's all in your brain, okay? So these are great games to just play in the car, in the kitchen, when you're around the house. It doesn't have to be like a lesson. This is something to integrate into your life. That's why I love it so much. And it helps more than any other pre-literacy activity or skill you can try to develop. Phonological awareness will get you the most bang for your buck, I promise. So first, we're going to learn 5 games, okay? All of this is super fun and your kids are just gonna love it. So the first game that we're going to talk about is matching and identifying sounds, okay? So you're gonna tell your child, I'm gonna tell you 2 words. I want you to tell me if the first sound in the word is the same or different, okay? So let's play a little bit, okay? So mix and mat. Mix, mat. Say it a few times for them. Really emphasize the you know, try to make it really obvious for them. Do a bunch in a row that are the same. And then you're gonna throw in a pat, dig, pat, dig, and help them see that there's a difference in sound there, okay? You're trying to get their brain to listen really closely to all the sounds in a word. That's the goal, okay? So once they can do this, they can tell you if something matches. You can ask them to identify the sound. That's like level 2 in the first game, all right? So instead of saying, tell me if they're the same or different, you're gonna say, tell me what the first sound in mix is. And they're gonna tell you, okay? So you can try to be tricky, and you can, once they get the first sound easy, you can switch it. And you can play, tell me what the last sound you hear in, what, mat, and they'll tell you, t, right? So you're practicing hearing all of those words. That is game number 1, okay? Matching and identifying sounds. Game number 2 is rhyming. So you're just gonna briefly explain to them what rhyming even is. It sounds so silly, so natural to us what a rhyme is, but to kids, they don't know. So you have to explain things to them, turns out. So rhyming. The first thing you're gonna say is, a rhyme is when the last sounds in a word, in 2 words, sound the same. Okay? And then you're going to give them a bunch of words that rhyme. Cat, mat, pat, sat. So they can kind of feel that and hear that that is the same, right? You can even draw it out if they understand the alphabetic principle and know some of their sounds. You can, this is where the concept of word families, if you're familiar with that, comes in. All of these words rhyme, okay? So then you're going to give them, after you do a bunch in a row that match, you're going to mix it up so that they can hear the stark difference, right? So you're going to say pat, mat, sat, dad, or something like mix, something really random, so they can hear that it's totally different, right? And they'll tell you, we caught you. That's super fun. Okay, so once they can tell you if something rhymes or not, then you can ask them to give you a word that rhymes with Sam or something like that. So the first level is, does this rhyme? Second level is, tell me a rhyme. Okay, that's game number 2. Game number 3 is my favorite and the absolute most important thing in phonological awareness, okay? This is the kicker. Just really focus here. If you only play one of these games, make it this one, okay? So this is a game that develops the skills of blending and segmenting. And in our home, we call this game Mystery Word. You can make up your own silly name for it, but our game is called Mystery Word. So here's how you play Mystery Word. The mom or dad thinks of a word in your head, and then instead of just saying the word, you're gonna say all the sounds in the word, okay? So it's gonna go like this. T, e, or tree, okay? Let's see. D, k, duck, okay? So you say the word broken, and your child's job is to fix the word, okay? So they're gonna, in their brain, have to hear the sounds broken up, and their brain's gonna have to smush them together and try to guess what word you're trying to get them to say, okay? So that is called blending, where you're giving them something that's broken up and you're asking them to push it together, to blend those sounds together to get the word, okay? That's essentially when you're reading a word, that's what you're doing, right? You can't sound out a word if you don't have this skill. You'll struggle and struggle and struggle, and you'll just be so frustrated because it's not that you don't know your letters, right? It's that your brain, the auditory cortex, doesn't understand how to blend sounds. So you can train those letters flashcards all you want, however you want to do that, but if they don't have the skill, it's not going to work. So really focus on blending. Once they get blending, you can move on to segmenting. This is level 2, okay? So instead of you giving them a word, they're going to think of the word in their head, right? And then they're going to give it to you broken up. So in their mind, the word is whole, and then in their speech, they're saying it broken up, right? So this is the same skill that you need when you're going to spell something, right? Your teacher, whoever tells you the word, and then you have to listen to all of the sounds broken up, right? So that's spelling. Blending is reading, segmenting is spelling. They're the most important phonological skills that you can develop, promise. And it's so fun because this is none of these are activities where you sit down and you have to, do a worksheet or anything like that. No. This is super fun. You play in the car, you can work this into instructions. Like if I want my son to take out the trash or clean something, I will as part of his instructions say, take out the ash. Then he has to figure out what the instruction is, and then he's way more motivated to take the trash out because it's a game, right? So just work it into things. And sometimes after you play for a while, your kids will come up to you and they'll say, hey mom, I got a mystery word for you. And they'll try to trick you and they'll be like, asked or not, or something cute and adorable like that. And you'll act like you're tricked and it'll be great. So those are absolutely my favorite games. Number 4 is counting sounds. And there are a lot of really good apps. My favorite app is a Montessori app. It's called Elkin Boxes. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It seems like a fancy word. But all it is they say word, and then you have to identify how many sounds are in the word. So you don't have to know what sounds they are. You don't have to know the letters. You're just listening. Your brain is trying to segment those sounds and to know how many of them there are. Got it? Super easy. You can do this with blocks or Legos or whatever you want. Just tell them a word. Cat. Build me cat. And so they'll do at, right? And they'll move 3 Legos or 3 blocks or whatever they're excited about. You can use those manipulatives. Number 5, this is our last game. I'm so excited. This is called manipulation of sounds, right? So we want our kids to have a really firm grasp on what sounds sound like together and when they're broken apart, right? That's what we're talking about. So manipulation of compound words is the first level of this game. So you're going to tell your son or daughter, whoever you're working with, cowboy, okay, a compound word, hot dog, toothbrush, things like that. And so you're going to say cowboy without the boy. So they're going to have to think the word cowboy. It's kind of like word math, right? And they're going to have to subtract the boy, and then they're left with cow, right? So then they tell you cow. Say toothbrush without the tooth, right? So then they have to listen to the whole word, delete the tooth, you're left with brush, right? And then that's level 1, and then level 2, I would use smaller words like cat and bat and CVC words, things like that. But you're going to start with cat and take away the C and add an M. Okay, so that's a really hard cognitive task, right, for a little guy. So they have to take away the C, so now they have at, and then they're going to add at. So you change the word from cat to mat. Got it? So that's really tricky, right? So save that one for last. And really, if you're only going to pick one of these games, just focus on the mystery word game and kind of all of these skills you'll see. I haven't ever done counting sounds with my kids, but my son has randomly started counting sounds in words, and he'll just tell me, hey mom, there's 7 sounds in, whatever word. And I'm like, you're right, way to go, So it's just getting their brains to really listen to words. This is going to help so much when they start sounding out words. They're not going to skip words. They're going to understand that each sound in a word is vital to the meaning. If you're trying to communicate something accurately, right? You can't leave something out. So those are your 5 games. I won't say them again. You could just rewind this and watch it again. It's going to be awesome. You're going to have so much fun. It's going to help those little guys so much.